Welcome to the instructional video for NLRBresearch.com. NLRB Research is a database that I created to help people who want to do legal research involving the National Labor Relations Act and the National Labor Relations Board. This is the front page of the website. If you want to get to the database, you can click this big button here that says search the database. When you do that, you're brought to this very simple interface. We have the search box here. We have a few other pages here, 3 pages here that we'll go through. And then we have the number of search results. So this is for all the documents we have right now because we haven't searched to narrow it. And then we have the results listed here in the order of date. So everything's always going to be sorted so that the newest stuff that matches is at the top. And you can go through and we have the type of the document in question. We have the date that the document was issued. We have the name of the document, which is clickable and will take you to the document. See here. We have the citation for the document, which is also clickable. And if you click it, it will search that citation in the search box to see if there's any other documents that cite to that one. Then we have the case number, which if you click to it, will take you to the NLRB website for that case. So maybe, you see a case that's interesting and you want to see some of the other stuff that's on the docket, you can do that. Then we have the name of the administrative law judge if it is an ALJ decision, which is also clickable and will search for all cases decided by that ALJ. And then we have the summary, which is an AI summary generated by Google Gemini. And these are not always perfect, but they can help you sort through documents a little bit faster. You can open it up and read what Google Gemini thought the case was about, which can sometimes help. Okay, now I want to get into how to search the database. The best way to start here is to click the search instructions button here, which will take you to one of the 3 auxiliary pages. And that will take you here, search guidelines. This is also where this video I'm shooting will be, though it's not on here yet. Read this. I'll go through these a little bit here and then kind of show you some examples. But, instruction number 1, always quote the search word or phrase. That's important, especially you might as well just quote all of them. And also, I just want to say when you're using this page, you can click the links and it'll show you what that search looks like. All right, so that's what the right line search looks like. Use quotes. Just use quotes. You're going to run into trouble that you won't even realize if you're not using quotes. Number 2, the search is not case sensitive, so it doesn't matter. Capitalization doesn't matter for the search terms. Normal searches look at all of the columns. So there are 8 searchable columns, which you see here. We get the document type, we get the date, we get the name of the document, we get the citation for the document, we get the case number, we got the name of the ALJ, the administrative law judge. We got the text of the document, and we got the board text for the document. The board text is useful if you are searching for published board decisions, and you only want to search through the text that the board wrote, not the text that the ALJ wrote, because those things are combined into one document. But this will search all of those columns, and if there's any hit, it's going to produce... it's going to show up here. So when we search right line, we get all of these documents here. We get an ALJ decision. We get a board appellate brief. We get many published board decisions. I'm sure there are plenty of advice memos and everything else. Okay. There are 13 document types. We have published board decisions, unpublished board decisions, ALJ decisions, regional election decisions, board appellate briefs, injunction appellate briefs, GC memos, OM memos, advice memos, the manual, the statute, so you can actually search through the text of the NLRA and the text of the NLRB regulations that are in the Code of Federal Regulations, and we have Supreme Court decisions. All of those things are text searchable, and you search through all of them at the same time, or you can pick specific ones. I don't know if I put that in here, but I'll show you that in a minute. You can search a specific column. Oh, that's what I was getting at next. So you can take the column name which are these things right here. These are the column names. You can take the column name, write it out, put a space, put a colon, put another space, and then write out the thing you're trying to search, and you can search just that column. So by default, you're going to search all 8 columns. If you want to search a specific column, you need to type it out like this, right? So if we type published board decision, it will only pull up the cases where published board decision is in the type field. And this becomes more important for something like write line. Write line is the case for determining when there's been unlawful discrimination. If we just put write line in there, we're going to get 6,030 documents because a ton of cases cite to write line and mention that phrase. If we put name write line, because we're trying to find the literal write line case, that's going to narrow it a lot more, right? So then we're left with these 2 published board decisions that use the phrase that has write line in the name, right? And then this is the one right here. So you can search a specific column that way. Then we have the Boolean Logic stuff, right? So you can add things, you can add things on top of one another with and. So let's say I want to only search published board decisions, but I also want to search for published board decisions that use the phrase write line. So I can just put write line. This is going to search all of the columns for that phrase. And then it also has to match this type, right? So that's going to narrow it that way, right? And you can just keep going. And this is a good way. So, and like on Westlaw, you have search within, where you get a certain number of cases and it's too many and you want to search even more specifically. So you can just keep adding ands to achieve search within. So, I want to do retaliation. Oh, great. Still quite too many. I want to do, let's say, hours reduction. Well, there we go. Okay, so we got 2 published board decisions that use the phrase write line, use the phrase retaliation, and use the phrase hours reduction. So I haven't looked at those, but maybe one of those will be a great case for if you were retaliated against in the form of having your hours reduced for engaging in protected activity. Again, this is basic Boolean logic. So if I want to look up cases about preemption, but I don't want Garmin preemption, then I'll say preemption, but not Garmin. Now that's not going to be perfect because there might be cases that are about machinist preemption that still use the word Garmin in them, but a good way to narrow only to cases that mention preemption but don't mention the word Garmin. Or pretty obvious, near is actually super useful. So near is going to search, if we do this, it's going to see for cases where, for documents where the word, in this case, preemption and Garmin are within 5 words of each other. And you can change that to whatever you want, right? So we could start out with 50 words and say, all right, there's 111 documents where the word preemption and Garmin show up within 50 words of one another. And then we want to narrow it down because that's too many, that's too many, whatever, right? That can be useful. And then beyond that, really, it's just thinking about using more complicated logic. You normally never get to this point, but if you want to, it's available for you, right? So here I want to search documents that are of the type Supreme Court or of the type published board decision. So I want to search both of those, but none of the other ones. And I want to search for the word preemption. So you see how you can kind of use parentheses and ands and all that kind of stuff to mess around with it and get it more narrow. So those are the search guidelines. Let me think about give you kind of a practical example of this. So recently we had the reinstitution of the clear and unmistakable waiver standard, which you may be familiar with. So let's search clear and unmistakable waiver. We get 661 documents. And this is actually the case right here that changed the rule. So pretty good. Now, let's say Well, I'm trying to find the case that changed the rule. So let me narrow it down to and type published board decision. All right, so that's going to bring us down to 382 hits. And now we've had multiple decisions since then that use that phrase. But let's even pick this one. Oh, I don't know which one it is. I know it's changed. I need to cite the new case, but I don't know it's this one off the top of my head. So let's just pick the recent one, open it up, right? And then let's search the phrase in here. What do we get here? Blah, 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 blah. But as was explained below, we do so under the clear and unmistakable waiver standard the board returned to in Endurance Environmental Solutions. So now you know this is the case, right? And so that's why we sort by date, because even if you are looking for a specific case, the most recent case should cite to the key one, the one that you're looking for, which it does here. Now let's say that we're reading a case like this and we want to pull out something it cites to, right? So I'm reading this and, oh, he relied on this case. Okay, well, what is this case? Now, the easiest way to do this, especially if you're just doing one case, is to copy and paste the citation. And we can just put it in like this with the quotes. And that's going to, remember, search all of the fields for that citation so that every text of every document, the names, the citations, all that. And that's often a good way to go because now you'll get every case that includes, that cites to this case. So we'll get the case itself on the bottom because obviously that's going to be the bottom case. That's going to be the earliest case where you're going to find this particular string of letters is going to be the case. So it's always going to be on the bottom. And then we'll have all the cases that cite to it. Now, sometimes that's going to be a real pain, right? Because let's go back to right line. The right line citation is right here, this one. And if we put that up here, you're going to get a ton of hits, right? And we're not going to find right line that way. But if we want to find it directly, what we will do is we will just search the citation column, right? And so we will type citation like that. And that's only going to pull up the document that uses that citation. So you're only going to pull up one, hopefully, when you do something like that. Now, another thing I want to show you here is if you pull up a case that you're trying to figure out, what all cites to it. Let's pull up another one in here. Okay, let's pull up MT transportation. We read here that in Endurance Environmental, the board overruled MV transportation, which adopted a contract coverage standard. So we had a prior standard for this that was established in NV transportation. So let's go ahead and first find that case. There it is. And we can go ahead and read it like this. Or we can read the AI summary like this, right? And then for whatever reason, I want to see what are all the other cases that have cited to this case. You can just do this and achieve that. Or for speed purposes, we can just click here. Because if you click here, it's going to execute that search, right? So that's frequently what I do. I'll read cases. I'll look for whatever the cases are citing to. And then I will pull up the citation to that case and then see what is cited that. So again, let's pick a random case in here. We've got, here's one, Jacobs Manufacturing. And I want to pull that up. What's that all about? Oh, there it is. Great. And then I want to see what all has cited that case. So I click that. And there we go. We get 95 documents that cited to that document. So this is the citing references feature in Westlaw. So I've already shown you the search within feature. The search within feature would just be to take those results and just add an and to the end of it. And, whatever. Start adding stuff. Oh, there we go. Now there's 21 documents instead of the 94. If we add that, and then we can search within again to narrow further. And then this, where you just search the citation, is the citing references feature in Westlaw. But all just through the search box. Very easy, very simple. The other thing I want to show you here is we have the advanced search tool. So if we click this, we can, with the advanced search tool, if we want to do a complicated query, this thing will help you construct it. So let's say I wanted to do something like published board decisions that contain the word the phrase coercive rules. I could do that. There we go. Wonderful. Or I could go into here like, I don't really get it. I don't like typing this all out. It's confusing to me. Okay, well, let's try it this way. Type publish board decision. And then we want the text to include coercive rules. And then we can search that. Right? So that'll help you if you want to construct very long and complicated advanced searches and you just don't feel comfortable with writing the syntax of it. That tool will help you do that. And then hopefully over time you'll get better at it, right? So if I just wanted to search the citation, I could just search that, instead of typing it in. So, okay, there we go. It's a little bit easier, right? It's a little goofy. Okay, so we have all of that. The last thing I'll show you is the mass citation search. So if we click this, you're just going to get this big box here, and it's going to say paste your text below to extract the legal citations for fast searching. So I have found that it can be a little bit cumbersome to grab all of these citations and go back into here and type it in like that. And then I've got another citation here that I have to do the same thing for. And you do it one at a time. And you got to get it kind of dead on. Like you can't just grab it like that. So what I've done instead of I've created this little box where you can just paste a giant chunk of text into it. And it's going to pull out the citations. And then you can just click this button and it'll grab all of them. Right? And so now there you go. I was reading the paragraph. I want to see all the stuff that was in that paragraph. Boom. There it is. And we can read those. We can do the AI summaries. We can go from there. Conceivably, you can, if you highlight the whole text of the entire document, you could dump that into it and get a whole list from there of everything that's cited in there. Now, there is a limit. Like it won't, you run over a resource limit when you go too far. Don't do that, I guess is what I'm saying. But it's the same kind of idea. You can put, I don't know what the limit is, but you can put a lot of stuff in there and pull it up. All right. So yeah, I think that's basically it. If you want help with this, I'm toying with the idea. I mean, I'm open to the idea of doing like paid trainings, especially for like unions and union locals that want to help their union reps do this. We could get on Zoom. You could ask me, how would I search this? And I could show you. But by and large, it's pretty simple. And I guess let me go back to it because I've only been showing complicated stuff. But like basically most people who use this, who are kind of regular people and not lawyers who already kind of know what they're going to be doing search stuff, right? So, induce group action. It might be like, I don't know, unfair labor practice strike. What does that look like? Right? And you'll just kind of go from there. And then maybe you want to zoom out a little bit. Ski patrol. Nothing like that. Is it just ski somewhere? All right. Maybe there's something there. So most people are just going to do a lot of word searches like that, I'm sure. And then narrow it that way. But you can do more sophisticated stuff. And I would say for legal practitioners, these sophisticated things like pulling up citations and clicking the citations to get stuff is really quite useful. The last thing I want to show you is the manual page. Because the manuals are going to usually show up at the bottom of search results because there's no date in them. So it can really help you if you're searching for the first time to just start here. Just start with the manual section. And here are all the manuals we have. These are all the manuals that are on the NLRB website, but I put them all together and made them text searchable. So we have the FOIA manual. We have all of the outline of law and procedure and representation cases. We have the bench book. And we have the case handling manual. And we also have the SiteNet outline. And this is really, really useful, especially because you can search it, along with everything else in the database. But if we just click open the SiteNet outline, here it is. And this is a great place to start to try to find stuff. Because let's say you do find something in here that you are looking for. You can then just click straight through like this, and it will take you to SiteNet, right? And then you can click Search Digest, and there's SiteNet. So it's a path into the NLRB SiteNet database. So now you don't have to do that separately. You can just start everything at NLRB Research, and even when I do have to shoot you off to another website, you can do it all here. So one of the ways this is super valuable is, let's say we start with type manual, and then we want to start looking up something like unfair labor practice strike, right? Okay, great. So we get 6 documents. We get the SiteNet outline. It's in the case handling manual. It's in the bench book, right? And we can open the bench book up. Oh, what does it say about unfair labor practice strike? Here we go. There's 7 instances of that phrase being used here. So we can see what the bench book says. And then we can also go into SiteNet and see what it says. Okay, where does this take us? It's going to take us here, and now we can get the SiteNet results for those cases. So super useful, I think. And it's pretty basic. I think if you play around with it, get good at it, I think it beats literally everything else. It's got every source of law that you can imagine, even the Supreme Court cases. Any Supreme Court case that uses the phrase NLRA or NLRB or National Labor Relations Act or National Labor Relations Board is going to be in here, even cases that don't necessarily have to do with the NLRA, right? So we have Loper-Bright here, which is the case that overturned Chevron deference. That's in the database. And because these cases are actually link you to a different website. So when you click these cases, they'll take you to Justia. But you can still search through them, right? So we can start with Supreme Court case and search for disparagement, right? And then you can read the AI summary. It's all in there. So yeah, I think it's really great, and I hope these instructions are helpful. Let me know. Like I said, I'm willing to do tutorials, willing to hop on, do instructional. What do we call it? Like a meeting with people who want to learn it, union locals, things like that. But other than that, and you can also email me, matt@nlrbedge.com, and I can give you other advice.